All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel Bible Studies program, and as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Now, the title of this lesson is The War Against the Flesh. The War Against the Flesh, all right? Because we know the struggle is real. When we're trying to walk in righteousness, we're trying to do the right thing, you know, as men and women of the Most High Yah. We're trying to do the right thing. Okay, we want to walk in righteousness. We want to do the right thing. But the world is just overwhelming. It's just overwhelming sometimes. I mean, it's all around you. Wickedness and sin is just all around you. And yet we still have to fight the good fight. We really have to fight the good fight. And hey, I sympathize with you, brothers and sisters. I sympathize with you, Israel, that it is not easy. Okay, but be encouraged. You know, because he that endures to the end, the same shall be saved. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this lesson. This time I'll be reading from the King James. And I just want to encourage you guys, man. I know it's hard. We struggle. Okay, I mean, I have a series, you know, the 3 S's that we have to battle against, right? And that's Satan, self, and society, right? That's who we have to really battle against. Satan, ourselves, and society, you know, the Hasatan and society. But be encouraged, because we are strengthened, right? We can be strengthened through the Ruach HaKodesh, through Yeshua HaMashiach, you know, and the Father, right? The Ancient of Days, right? We do have the tools. It's a matter of us being able to access those tools and remember what we've been taught before. Remember what is in our spirit. If we walk after the flesh, we're gonna have a hard time. But if we walk after the spirit, then you start to employ and start to be able to access these weapons that we have to help us get through, right? And then also maturity plays a large role. I remember one time I was in Robstown, Texas. Went to a Bible study, me and a few people in the Bible class, right? Including my wife. So they were doing a Bible study. And not to be disruptive, what we wanted to do is we wanted to just wait until the Bible study was over, and then we had a couple of questions for the pastor, right? Because we could have went in there and raised our hand at every opportunity while everyone else was there, and they were just, you know, enjoying the Bible study and stuff like that. But it was just kind of a field trip, right? We were already awakened Hebrews, but just a field trip, just see what is going, you know, what are they teaching? What else are they teaching, right? Topic doesn't really matter. The pastor and the senior pastor was teaching his thing, you know, kind of doing his things, and he was kind of jumping and dancing all over what responsibilities were. It was very ambiguous. He was not clear on what we should and should not do. It wasn't clear. So that's really what precipitated our questions, right? Really made us say, wait a minute. Okay, I see, you know, you're saying there's things we should do, things we shouldn't do, but you're not very clear on it, right? So after the Bible study was over and everybody else was leaving and stuff like that, we decided to ask him a question, right? We wanted to ask him a question. Okay, so listen, you're in the New Testament and all that, and we just want to know, okay, because you didn't say yay or nay, you were kind of on the fence. So are we supposed to keep the law, or, you know? And immediately he's like, oh no, we don't have to do that, brother. We don't do that. And I said, okay, but I don't understand. Okay, so then how do we know if we're sinning against God? Okay. Well, if we do anything against his will, you know, that's, you know, that would be a sin, right? Okay, so what is his will? Come on now. Then he start buck dancing and back, you know, moonwalking all over that. And so we're trying to nail him down to, okay, so what should we do? What should we not do, and all that, right? And we said, so we don't, you know, keep the law. And he was like, okay. And I said, okay, so wait, time out. Like, for instance, we shouldn't steal, right? He said, no, see, that's part of the law. You know, you shouldn't worry about that. He freed you. Jesus freed you from the law. Okay. He freed you from the law. I'm like, okay, so wait. So if I see something, I'm at a store and I see something that I want. I don't have the money for it. I don't have money to take care of it. I see something that I want. Should I resist the temptation to take it? No, you shouldn't even resist the temptation. So should I steal it? You know, he said, okay, brother, you know, Jesus came to free us from that law. We do not have to obey that law, right? And so that's what he's saying. I'm like, okay, but I don't understand. And then my wife says, well, right here in the scripture, you know, that hereby we know that we know him, that we keep his commandments. And he said, yeah, but he knew that the law was too hard. You know, that's what we used to be. We used to have to do that, but it was too hard. And she said, but wait a minute. But she read the rest of them and said, and his commandments are not grievous, right? They're not heavy. And so we're just listening. And the next thing after that was, so we're like, wait a minute. So after his little ramblings and his exhortation of why we should not keep the law, have no relationship to it, have nothing to do with it, I just felt like I was just befuddled. And I'm staring at him and I just felt like saying,
what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
His explanation made absolutely no sense. Okay, absolutely no sense. And these, you know, they think they think they're getting by. They really do. A lot of these people out here, they think they're getting by with scratching these itching ears, telling people the things that they want to hear, right? Instead of saying there's a responsibility and accountability component to this whole salvation thing. Oh, you talking about work? No, I'm not. I'm just saying there is an accountability. You cannot just go, you just can't just keep doing everything you want and never straighten out. If you serve a God of order and structure and judgment, and yet you can just do whatever you want, is that not a contradiction? Do we see the contradiction there? We serve a God who is coming to judge and make war, okay? We have the Ancient of Days, who is a God of order and structure, and yet we can do whatever we want. And see, what happens is, a lot of times, if we don't war against this flesh, what happens is, we think, since we don't get an immediate judgment, like death instantly, since we don't have that, either by the Most High or by, a community of Israelites, since we can't stone someone to death and we can't render judgment right then and there, they think that they're getting away with it. But
he got away with it, but he ain't get away with it.
So let's go ahead and get into this lesson real quick, brothers and sisters. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I'm going to start over here in 2 Corinthians. Let's go there. Okay, 2 Corinthians. Right, we're going to go 2 Corinthians chapter 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. And I'm going to read verses 3 and 4. Let's see here. I'm in first, but we're going to go to second. 2 Corinthians 10. We're going to read 3 and 4. It says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Right? So we're not going to use fleshly weapons to war after the flesh, right? For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Mighty to God for the pulling down of strongholds, right? So to defeat this flesh, we have to use spiritual weapons, right? This is the only way we're going to be successful. We have to use spiritual weapons. Now we're going to go to 1 Corinthians. Okay, and we go there, it'll be chapter 9 in 1 Corinthians. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 9. I'm going to start at 24. Okay, 24 through 27. 24 says this: know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receive the prize. So run that ye may obtain. And every man that strive for the mastery is temperate in all things. Temperate in all things. You know what I'm going to do, brothers and sisters? we're going to go and look up temperate, right? We're going to look at that in the Strong's. We're going to look at a couple of words here and there. So let's take a look real quick. So this one, we're in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, and we're at verse 25. And we're going to look up temperate. Temperate means this in the Strong's. Temperate. It is to be self-control, continent, to exhibit self-government, conduct, one's self temperately. Okay, that's a lexicon. The Thayer's definition. I'm sorry, there's a lexicon. It says to exercise self-restraint in the Strong's. To exercise self-restraint, right? So that's 25. And it says 25. It says every man that striveth for the mastery is self-control, self-restraint in all things. In other words, temperate in all things. Now, they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. That's those who are in the flesh, but we're in the spirit. But we an incorruptible. Okay, this immortality is what we're striving for, right? And then 26. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly. So fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Like, you beat it, you're not really hitting anything. You're doing a whole lot of work, but you're not hitting anything, right? And it says 27, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Exactly, right? So this is a big deal, especially for those who stand in front of the podium and teach, right? That we be teaching all the right things, but if we don't keep our body into subjection, we can be a castaway. If we don't get this thing right, if we're not working on ourselves, then we can be a castaway, that we can fall away from this thing, right? So we have to, as much as I am teaching you as a moray, as much as I'm teaching you, I'm teaching me. As much as I'm reminding you, I'm reminding myself, okay? As much as I'm pointing at you, 3 fingers are pointing back at me. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. We're here to sharpen each other. Iron sharpens iron, right? We're here to sharpen each other. So now we're going to go over to Romans. So let's drop back a book or two. Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8. All right, I'm going to start at verse 5. We're 5 through 8, and then we'll jump. 5 says this. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. Exactly. So this particular pastor who was trying to do away with the law, don't want to have no relationship, no connection, no nothing towards the law. He's like, nah, we ain't supposed to do that, no, and all that. The whole time denying, no matter what the script. We had more, trust me, we had more and more scriptures, okay, from the New Testament about keeping the law. And then he just explained it away like, no, we're not supposed to do that. I mean, no, we're not, it's nailed to the cross and all that. And we go explain that. And we're looking at all these things. That he even claimed, this is, you can't work for your salvation. It's not about works. That means, I do this and I get salvation. No. It's the other way around. He's already given us that free gift, and now you have accountability. You can't act like a little hellion and think you fit to go into the kingdom. You can't just act like there's just someone clears up your debt. You have a credit card debt, $20,000. Someone clears that, wipes it out, boom, it's clean. So now you think it's proper for you to go charge it right back up. You think that's proper, right? You go to jail for a crime. And then the governor or somebody pardon you, get you on out. You think it's proper for you to go commit another crime to end you right back up in jail. That means there's a responsibility after it, right? You got your debt cleared. It's a responsibility for you not to go back into debt. Okay? You got pardoned from a crime, then your responsibility is to not go back into prison. Does that register? Does that make sense? Come on. It's not works, it's responsibility. It's not about work salvation, it's about responsibility. I'm responsible not to keep doing the same thing. Let's drop down to 13. For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, that's how you do it, ye shall live. And we talking about that incorruptible crown. So you see how we're giving you the tool is spiritually, because you have to mature past something. You have to mature past something. Let's go to Galatians. Let's go to Galatians. Galatians chapter 5. Right? Just doing it from the King James this time. Galatians chapter 5. And I'm going to start over in verse 19. We'll read 19 to 21. And then I'll jump around a little bit. So 19, it says this. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of which I told you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. That right there should seal the deal for you. That right there should be enough, right? Will not, if these things will cost you the kingdom, then you need to get a hold on these. These are some of the works of the flesh. These are the things that we, as men and women, as Israel, these are the things. Everyone struggles with it, but I'm talking to Israel. Okay, these are the things that we struggle with. Right now, I got a whole series, works of the flesh, and and stuff like that. Right, the gifts of the spirit and the works of the flesh and all that. I got a whole lesson on that. If you want to go back through that, you can look at that. Right, so I'm not going to go through each one, but look at what he said. When you do these type of things, you're not going to inherit the kingdom. Right, you're just not going to inherit the kingdom. Right. So again, let's look at a few of them. Right, I'm gonna pick out some of the easy ones. Right, pick out some of the easy ones. 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, okay, fornication. All right, let's look at adultery and fornication. We study up on adultery, right? If we really go deep, we know adultery really depends on the marital status of a woman. Okay, let me say that again. Biblically, adultery depends on the marital status of a woman, and we're gonna go back to that a little bit later in this lesson. It depends on the marital status of a woman, meaning if a man sleeps with a married woman, he is committing adultery. Both of them are. They are committing adultery. If this woman is married, if this woman belongs to another man, you sleep with her as a man, you are committing adultery. Both of them are, right? Now, some of you might be like, well, I don't understand. Okay, so if a married man sleeps with a single woman, is that adultery? No, it is not. Biblically, it is not. Okay, it's not. I know some of you guys are going to wrestle with that, but we can do a deeper study on that. But I assure you, no. If a married man sleeps with a single woman, that is not adultery. Okay, adultery biblically depends on the status of a woman, whether she is married or not. Okay, we'll get into the other stuff. Bear with me. Now let's look at this other one: fornication. Fornication basically is just messing around, is sex without responsibility, right? You can have two single people, single man, single woman, right? And they're messing around, one night stand, and they're gone or whatever. That's fornication. Bed hopping, boop, 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 boop. That's fornication, period. Okay? Now, if we go further, hold on, for fornication, adultery, fornication, okay, uncleanness, okay, uncleanness. We have the cleanliness law. I have a lesson on cleanliness or whatever. You go back into there. And lasciviousness, wickedness and all that, just lustfulness, wickedness, all type of things. It's like concupiscence and things like that, right? Got a whole study on that. Okay, go back to those lessons. All right, so we're just picking out a few things so you can kind of give an understanding. You want an extended explanation and all that. put it in the comment section down below and we'll deal with it, right? Idolatry. Okay, that can be a number of different things. You can be you can have the idol of your own mind, right? Like atheists, they have idolatry of their own intellect, right? They idolize just just intelligence and things like that, which is not really intelligence, but again, they idolize that type of things, right? You can idolize, obviously, when you have, your pagan holidays and things like that, or pagan gods. It's idolatry. Sometimes people have the crosses. They have these Christian crosses and things like that, or little angels, or what, making these graven images and things. That's idolatry. Okay, they may have they may have a Jesus piece or something. That's idolatry. Those things are idolatry, right? Even with witchcraft, and you have that in there too. You have that. That's the very next thing. In witchcrafts. Okay, putting love potions. You see things. There's women out there who are doing some things that I really don't even want to mention on the channel right now. I'm trying to, I try to keep as clean as possible, in case there's our little young Israelites out there. But you have women who, let's just say, are using bodily juices to seduce a man, or to have him fall in love and things, part of witchcraft, or to use certain things. It could be seances to communicate with the dead, things like palm reading, tarot reading, all kinds of things, right? Witchcraft, right? Okay. Rebellion is like rebellion is like the sin of witchcraft. You got women who will come into a man's life and not bring peace. Okay, they be on demon time, and they just tear down the whole house, right? That's a witch. Okay, I'm sorry, that's a witch. Okay, you gotta watch out for certain butter muffins out there. Then you have hatred. Now, some of this hate, there's a good hate, there's a bad hate, right? This hatred obviously is the bad one. Okay, some people just wake up mad. They go to sleep with the fist balled up, wake up with the fist balled up. They mad at the world all the time. This person has hate in their heart. They can't crack a smile. Okay, they just it's like they're ready to take their own go. They on 10 every single time, every single waking moment. They just have hatred. They look at somebody a certain way. They on hate. They just on hate. I mean, just hate, okay? And it's unjustified, okay? Variance, emulations, wrath, strife, fighting and stuff, seditions, heresies, people, they have there's a lot of doctrines out there, that's gonna get a lot of people cut off, brothers and sisters. So a lot of false doctrine. You look at this channel long enough, I deal with false doctrine too, okay? False doctrines, false pastors, stuff like that. It's gonna get bad. Okay, it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get bad. Envyings, okay, envying somebody, you already know what's up with that. Okay, murders, don't have to explain that. Drunkenness, okay, drunkenness. Again, you got some people, that's all they live for. Okay, they just need their happiness is at the bottom of a bottle. Now, Moray Reed, are you saying that we can't have a drink? Of course not. If you've been looking at me for any amount of time, I don't say drinking is a sin. I got plenty of scriptures that have backed it up. No, having a drink is not a sin. We're talking about drunkenness, to where all your inhibitions are just, you down to do everything. That's because if you drink too much, there will be foolishness. If you drink and fall asleep, you drink and sin not, you're good. You drink, get drunk, and do something stupid, you're bad. That's not a good look. Okay, you're gonna have to take that L. You have to take that L and wear it well, because that's what that is. So we're just looking at a couple of things. Okay, drunkenness, reveling, that's fighting. Okay, and everything else, you're not going to get into kingdom. These are struggles. These are the struggles we got to go. This is what we're dealing with. Okay, so this is the war with the flesh, or war against the flesh. But you have to be spiritually minded, getting into this word, getting into prayer, praying one another, confessing sins and shortcomings with one another, maturing and growing up and being perfect. That's what this is all about. Okay, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. I actually just want one verse. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And then hold on, before I do that, I did want Galatians 16. So let me do that. I don't think I read verse 16. So Galatians, go back to 5, and I want to read verse 16, which says, "This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." So now we got our answer. We were just reading 19 to 21. And then you jump back to 16 and look, he's telling us exactly how we're supposed to defeat this. How are we supposed to get over these things? Okay? We have to not commit adultery. We not commit fornication. Okay? Fellas, you're interested in a person, then make sure it is a long-term, you have a long-term outlook. Okay? Does this person add value to your household? Does it add value to you? Okay, you're on your grind, you're trying to build something, you're trying to do something with your life, you're trying to please the Most High Yah, and this other person, they need to be adding value to that, right? Complementing your life when you get yourself a helpmeet. Okay, so if they're complementing your life, okay, good, then you need to have a long-term view. Then they're a helpmeet, it's someone who adds value to your life. If not, don't waste your time. Okay, if you're out there fornicating, yeah, it's costing you the kingdom. You're gonna get that little one. Okay, you're gonna have that little bit of pleasure. Okay, let me mind my words. You're gonna have that little short period of pleasure, and it's gonna cost you the kingdom. Running around fornicating, just bed hopping, basically whoremongering. All right, you go do that, it's gonna cost you the kingdom. Talk to the sisters too. I'm mainly talking to the brothers. I'm talking to my brothers because iron sharpens iron. But I'm just saying, okay, don't quit trying to work. Then just, okay, if you're interested in someone, you bring them into your household, make them your wife. Whoever she is. Okay, you're interested in someone, make it. Okay, just be very selective and make them your wife. That's it. I mean. Because we can't, bed hopping doesn't make the kingdom, and sleeping with somebody else's wife. Oh no, we ain't doing. Nope, we ain't doing that. You think you really think no. You know, there was a time you could be killed for that, and that time still could be. Hey, some people would. Hey, all I'm saying, look, some people will snap. Okay, you sleep with somebody else's wife, and then think you just gonna get away with it.
He got away with it, but he ain't get away with it.
Just think it's gonna be cool. One way or another, you're not gonna get away with it. Period. That is the ultimate disrespect. That is that. No, don't. Brothers, be bigger than that. Be bigger than that. Be more mature. Don't do it. And all the little counsel and trying to talk them out of their marriage, and that's not gonna work either. Because if she's divorced unlawfully, that's still adultery. So you can try to do down low, or you can try to manipulate her out of her marriage. And if she's divorced unlawfully, it's still no good. It's still adultery. Brothers, I'm just. We all know, we all grown, we all know this happens. I'm saying, don't do it. War against the flesh, okay? 16, one more time. Then I say then, walk in the spirit, brother, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. And if you want to sleep with another man's wife, that is certainly the definition of the lust of the flesh. At least one of them. That's a quintessential example of that, right? So now let's go to, I did 1 Corinthians chapter 10, 13. So I wanted to go ahead and knock that out real quick. 10 and 13 says, there has no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Okay, that you'll be able to do this. Okay, talk to my brothers. I'm talking to my brothers and my sisters, but Israel, you can do this. You can do this. You can get temperance. You can get some self-control and some self-restraint. You can do this. Okay? You can do this. There is no need nor excuse to commit adultery, fornication. There's just no need. He made a way to take care of that, especially with lust. Okay? Make it your own. It's called marriage, right? And I'm not talking about the state license. I'm not saying you need a state license. That's a whole nother subject. I'm not even talking about that. Okay? I'm not talking about that. The system is against men. Okay? But you can have a covenantal agreement. Talk about that in another video sometime. Let's go to Matthew. Okay? Let's go to Matthew. You can have a biblical without the state license, but Matthew 26. Okay, 26, and I'm going to read verse 39. What do we have here? 39, which Matthew 26. Okay. And 39. Let's see. Okay, right here, 39. I'm going to read to 43. 39 says this. And and he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt." And he cometh unto the disciples, and finding them asleep, and said unto Peter, "What? Could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Okay, so we got to remember things like that, brothers and sisters. Okay, the power is right there in the spirit. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is something else. You remember in the old school cartoons when they have these attacks of conscience, right? The little devil there and the little angel there and stuff like that. They get that from somewhere, because that's how we feel when we're wrestling between two decisions. When we're wrestling between our spirit and we're wrestling between our flesh. When we're wrestling between those two things, that's what it's like. That's what it's like. And it depends on what are you going to do about it? I remember I heard an old Indian proverb, and it was an Indian chief. Okay, it's an Indian chief, and he had his grandson with him. And his grandson, he said, "Sit down." He said, "Sit down a second, son. Inside of all of us, but inside of me, there are two wolves. Now, one wolf is benevolent. He's a protector. He's a provider. He's a leader. He's ambitious. Now, on the other side, there's another wolf inside me, and he's malevolent. He's vicious, and he's cruel, and he's greedy, and he's selfish. And they're always warring against each other." Then his grandson looks up at him and he says, "Grandson, but they're fighting. Well, who will win?" And the chief looked down at his grandson and he says, "The one I feed." So the same is true for us, brothers and sisters. The one we feed. Are you going to feed the flesh, or are you going to feed the spirit? Which one are you going to do? Because that's what it's going to come down to for many of us. So let's continue. Let's keep looking at our lesson here. And we are in, let's go to Romans. Romans chapter 7. So a lot of times they want to get around, the law and run away from it and say certain things. And what they want to do is they want to read 5 and 6 and then run. But we're going to keep going, right? So we're going to read verse 5 and 6. Now, here's what it says. It says, "For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sins, which were by the law," that's how we knew what sin was, "did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death," right? When we compare our actions to the law, we know it's going to bring forth death, because the wages of sin is what? Okay? And he said, "But now we're delivered from the law," right? It sounds, but we're talking about the penalty. But anyway, "that being dead, wherein we were held," okay, we were held to the penalty of that law, "that we should serve in newness of spirit and not in the oldness of the letter," right? Because we're supposed to die. Some stuff carried the death penalty like immediately, but now we don't have to die the immediate death, right? But we're supposed to serve in the newness of spirit. Remember what I was saying about the accountability? Now there's an accountability. Now that you don't have to die and that death, okay, hellfire has been erased. Now that we should serve in newness of spirit. See, we were held to the penalty. But now you're going to serve in the newness of spirit, right? So now let's drop down. Okay, we're going to, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and read. I was going to drop down all the way to 12, but we're going to go ahead and read further, right? I changed my mind, okay? So we're going to do this. So people say, oh, well, no, we don't have to do with New Testament. We don't have to do the law. We don't have to do that. That's done away with. Okay, the law is bad. It's too hard. It's burdensome and all that, right? So let's read verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Is the law sin? Is it bad? God forbid. That means no, right? Or nay. I had not known sin but by the law, because sin is the transgression of the law, right? For I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet, right? Okay. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, right, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead. When I didn't know any better, when I knew nothing, I just sin. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that was wrong, right? For I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. Once I realized, I'm like, oh, I thought I was doing good. I thought I was great. I thought everything was fine. Until I realized, till I got into this Torah, and I realized, like, whoa, I was doing this wrong, I was doing that wrong. I mean, wow, right? You find out real quick. And then 10. And the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death, right? Not the commandment is like what you did, the breaking. It's like, man, this is killing me. I see what the law is, and now I know exactly what I was doing wrong. Okay? I'm a dead man walking. For sin, taking occasion by the commandments, deceived me, and by it slew me. I realized what I was doing wrong. Now let's go to 12. Wherefore the law is holy. See, he said all that and it sound bad. Oh, the law, this and that, and it deceived me and it killed me and I'm dead and all that other stuff. And then look at what he says in 12, right? Okay, in 12 he says, wherefore the law is holy and the commandments holy and just and good. So is the law bad? Is it sin? God forbid, right? So let's read a little bit more. See, we warring against the flesh. Let's read some more. Was then that which is good made death unto me? God forbid. So is the law dead? That it was good, so is it dead to me? That we ain't got to worry about it no more? God forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. It will become apparent that I am wrong. Will become apparent that I have transgressed. It will become apparent that I deserve death in hell. That's what it means. It will become apparent. Okay, once we look at it. 14. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin, right? So that's where we are. The same when Eve went her own way, she was sold under sin, right? And the rest is history. Same thing. But the law is spiritual. This is the only way you're going to be able to fight the flesh. When you say, oh, well, we can't do this and we can't do that, I'll give an easy one. I always go to the easy ones like Sabbath and dietary law and stuff like that, right? So we go to the dietary law or something like that. Okay, you can't eat pork, catfish, right? Among other things. But you can't eat pork and catfish, right? But your flesh is, you salivating. You really want it, right? Now you're warring against the flesh. But you know that in the spirit, go look at the dietary law lessons, any of them. You'll know that, okay, this is not considered food. These things, these unclean things are not unclean food. It's not food. It's unclean. Okay, the pig is the garbage disposal. That's what it is. It's a living garbage disposal. The catfish, they're bottom feeders. They eat the waste of everything, just like a pig. This is not food. It's a trash can. It's a living trash can. So you're just eating the trash can, right? So, but we notice, spiritually, we know, okay, this is not food. The Lord says, this is food and this is not, right? That's really what it comes down to, but who wants to listen? But the flesh is like, I don't think God cares about what we're going to eat. Okay. Just because he doesn't kill you immediately doesn't mean you're getting away with it.
He got away with it, but he ain't get away with it.
Verse 15. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do. Okay, so the things I should do, I don't do. Okay? And the things that I hate, I end up doing that. If then I do that which I would not, or I should not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Okay? Now, then it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. Right? So when you go the wrong way, that sin, it won the battle. Okay, there's two that, spiritual, the flesh or the spirit. One of them is going to win. Based on your decision, we'll know who won. Okay, did the spirit take over, or did that sin or that carnal mind take over and you ran with the carnal mind, right? Which one took over? 17. Now then, it is no more that I do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. 18. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me. But how to perform that which is good, I find not. Like, I don't know what to do. It feels like it's just not there. You're like, oh, this is so hard. I really want to do X, Y, and Z, right? You really want to do it, and you're trying to fight. You're trying to this is so hard, right? I get it. But you got to focus on the spirit. We have to focus on the spirit. 19, for the good that I would, I do not. The things I should do, the good that I should do, the righteousness that I should do, I don't do it. But the evil which I would not, or the evil that I should not do, I do that. See, Paul even saying that Shaul, he's saying he struggled. He struggled just like you, just like me. We all struggle. But we have to go towards the spirit to war against this flesh. We need the spiritual things, which is this Torah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, which is the Messiah. Okay, when we have these attacks of consciousness, be like, man, should I really be doing this? See, that's the prompting of the spirit right there. Okay. And he says, okay, after 20, we did, okay, he said in 20, now, if I do that, I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me, right? He's warring against the flesh. This whole little passage is warring against the flesh, warring against the flesh. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members, in the flesh. Okay? In the flesh. O wretched man that I am. Who shall deliver me from the body of this death? Okay, because this flesh body is just going to bring me to death. But then he says, I thank Yah through Yeshua HaMashiach, our Lord. Okay, our Messiah. So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of God, but with the flesh, the law of sin. So with my mind, I'm going to serve the law of God. With the flesh, the law of sin. Is it starting to make sense a little bit more? It's in your mind. It's what you meditate on. It's what you focus on in your prayers. Even sometimes when you don't even know what to say, just pray for strength to endure. Pray to make that right decision. And over time, you get a little bit more mature. You start to see things and view the world a little bit different when you become more spiritually minded. You have to keep reminding yourself over and over to grow stronger and stronger and stronger. Whether you're struggling with alcohol, you're struggling with lust, it's all the same. It's something that you have to fight. And the only way, one of the main ways, is fighting through the spirit. Okay, whether it's prayer, whether it's fasting and meditation on his word, whether it's confessing one's sins one to another, whether it's seeking after counsel, whatever, whether it's changing things in your environment. You see what I'm saying? All these things, you have to be proactive. You have to do it, have to get after, because this is an endurance race. This is not a sprint. This is an endurance race, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Proverbs 24. Proverbs 24. and 9 and 10. Proverbs 24, we're going to read verse 9 and 10. It says what? The thought of foolishness is sin. The thought of foolishness is sin. And a scorner is an abomination to men. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. That's why I said we have got to get stronger. We have to get we have to be perfect, which means to grow in maturity. Now that we're grown adults, some things have to be beneath us because we've walked far enough on our path of righteousness. Okay? For example, stealing should be beneath me. I shouldn't. Okay, if I don't buy it, I shouldn't steal it. Right? It's not mine until I can earn it. So don't steal. That should be beneath me. Work. If you stole, steal no more. Right? And don't do that. That should be behind you. Okay? If it's not, you need to work on it seriously. On all these things. I'm just giving an example. You saw all the works of the flesh. We have to work on all these things. Constantly warring against the flesh, because if you are like that in the day of your death, and by the way, you don't know when your death is coming. If you're like that, you're not dealing with it. You're not fighting against that. You're not moving from being carnally minded to spiritually minded. You're not in that process. If you're not on that track running the race, meaning you strayed away, and then you go and you meet death, that's it. Means you died in your sins. You're not trying to turn away from your sins. You have to, repenting means you turning away, and you're not going to do that anymore. If you're not in the process of that, you are in big trouble. That's all I'm saying. I just got to give it to you the way it is, period. So we're going to go over to Job 31. Job 31, start at 1, and we'll jump around a little bit. Verse 1, he said, I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? We're going to look at some of that too, right? Why should then I think upon a maid? Okay. So he's like, why should I look at, a woman a certain way, right? With a bunch of lust in his eyes and stuff like that. We're going to drop to 9. If my heart have been deceived by a woman, or if I have laid wait at my neighbor's door, that's adultery, right? I'm just waiting till the man of the house leaves so I can go and sneak in and, sneak in and smash. Nope. Shouldn't do that. So we gotta watch out for that. I'm drop to 24. Okay. If I have made gold my hope, or have said to the fine gold, thou art my confidence, right? If you just confidence in your wealth, right? 25. If I rejoice because my wealth was great, and because my hand had gotten much, like I got a lot, he's a lot, very wealthy. If I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart has been secretly enticed, or my mouth has kissed my hand, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judge. For I should have denied the God that is above, or deny the Yah that is above. You do all these little secret little things, if I put my hope and my trust in my wealth, if I allow myself to be enticed, by a woman, or lust after a woman, if I, these things here, I'm worthy to be judged. I'm gonna have to stand in front of a judge. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. What it says right there at the end there. For I should have denied the Yah that is above, the Elohim that is above. You denied him. If you know better. This is what I'm talking about. If you know better, what are we doing? Right? Now I understand a lot of us, gonna stumble and fall. But some things at some point need to be behind you, need to be beneath you. You have to work on that. Let us keep going. Matthew 5. Let's go back to the New Testament. Okay. Matthew chapter 5. And we'll start over here at 27 and 28. So Matthew 5, 27, 28. And I know I'm kind of, leading with, adultery or fornication and lust and all the other stuff. But I'm really talking about all these things that trouble us, all these things that can get us in trouble, right? So I'm going to start wrapping up here in a second. 27 and 28. 27 says this. You have heard this, that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. But we need to look at that though. Let's look at what he's talking about right here. This is Matthew 5 and 27. But let's look at a couple of definitions. So I want to give you guys an idea here. Okay. So Matthew chapter 5 and 27. Let's look up woman in verse 28. Woman, okay, in the Greek, okay, gune. All right, but it says this. A woman in a Thayer's lexicon, right? It says a woman of any age, whether a virgin or married or a widow, okay? But verse 2, it says a wife, right? Or a betrothed woman. So a wife that is either engaged or betrothed, right? And then the Strong's, okay, it says specifically a wife. It says a woman, but specifically a wife. Specifically, right? So, looking at a single woman and she looks good, okay, that's a lioness over there. She looks good or whatever. If she's single and you're not lusting after her, you're not lusting after her, right? It's not adultery, right? Okay, she can look good, hey, she looks great, she looks awesome or whatever. Okay, the difference is when you don't know whether or not she's married. If you don't know, okay, so that's okay. Someone can look nice, whatever. That's it. But it doesn't go any further. Now, once you find out that they're married, that's it. You cut that. It's done. Okay, I don't see you as not potential or nothing. You just, hey, you're a sister. Y'all bless, and I'm moving on. That's it. Once you tell me you're married, that's it. I mean, I'll ask or whatever the case may be, or you tell me or whatever. That's it. It's done. I'm not. My mind is somewhere else now. That's it. I don't need to entertain that. I don't need to entertain that. You belong to someone else. That's it. Not mine. Not on the market. No potential or something like that. That's my attitude. And brothers, that should be your attitude. Once you find out that they're married, that's it. She should be in a completely different category in your mind. Period. Completely different category in your mind. She's not on the market. She ain't available. She don't belong to you. Do not disrespect another man's wife. Period. Right? So, as we look at the definition in this particular passage, because we remember, this is not an Eastern book. This is not a Western book. This is not an American Bible. Okay? They're not expressing American thought. Okay, you think the Messiah was expressing American thought here? So no. He's expressing Hebrew thought. So he's talking about if you look at a wife, so it makes a lot more sense. Because if that's the case, then you can never find a wife. Because we're visual creatures, so we can't look at them to think they look nice or anything like that. We can't talk about, oh, that's just lust, that's it. No. It's not that. He's talking about adultery because you are imagining being with somebody else's wife. That's the sin. Not looking at a pretty woman. Looking at a pretty sister, just because you notice that she's beautiful, that's not the sin. Imagining having inappropriate relations with somebody else's wife, that's the sin. Okay? If we want to be technical, that's what we're talking about. Right? It's not talking about just a woman, period. Right? Then we have to walk around with blinders on, can't look at, No, let's look at it. This is an Eastern book with Hebraic thought. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. Let's go back to our lesson. 1 Peter 5. 1 Peter in chapter 5. And when we get there, one verse, which is verse 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Be sober, be vigilant, because of the devil. Because he's trying to get after you, and he knows what works, brothers and sisters. He knows exactly what works, what's against you. Is it the lust? Is it women? So guess what you're going to get enticed with all the time. So until you pass this test, until you are matured, Because what the devil does, he does what works. He does whatever works. If women works against you, that's the weakness in your flesh, then that's what he's going to use all the time. He's going to just put women in front of you, whatever. And you know, some guys, they'll be online, and you already know what is going. You be online, and he's going to entice you, and then that's what's going to keep getting. That's going to keep getting you, because why? It works. He's going to keep doing what works. He don't bother. If a man is not struggling with that, it doesn't bother him. You know what? Let me flip it for the sisters. Let me flip it. Sisters you guys have a tendency of looking to see if the grass is greener somewhere else too. So he's going to entice you. He's going to entice you and try to get you away from your situation. Try to get you away from your marriage. Why? Because this other marriage this dude seems like he's an awesome leader. And I'm talking about the married women. I'm not talking about single women. I'm talking about married women. This guy, he has he treats his wife like this and that. He does this for his wife, this and that. I know the Most High want me to be happy, so I'm gonna da. See, he entices you a different way. It's not always visual, but it's more romanticized, right? To get your way, because it appeals to your emotion. So, Most High, he wants me to be happy. I don't see nowhere in the Bible where it says, thou shalt be happy. I don't see that anywhere. Okay, now happy, yeah, it can be a byproduct. If you get the basic stuff, if you get the foundation right, you'll be happy. But that's what it is. We look at statistics, in these relationships and stuff like this. Check this out. We already know that marriage, over 50%, knocking on the door, 60% of marriages end in divorce. 80% of the divorces are filed by the woman. 70 to 80% is filed by the woman. Why? You can't say that it's all physical abuse or something like that, because everybody like to run to the extreme. That is the exception, not the rule. But a lot of times it could be fornication, and that number is very, very close. 26% versus 24%. So that's very, very close. Finances and irreconcilable differences. Those are the top 3 reasons for divorce. And 70 to 80% are filed by the woman. So she can be easily enticed to it. Just if her feelings change, she's out. That's it. Now, this whole lesson, I've been jumping on the guys. Guys, control yourself. Okay? Control yourself. Mature past these things. And then I wonder if just because I say something towards the sisters, I wonder the backlash. I'm curious of what the comment section is going to look like after what I just said. See, we both have some things we got to work on when it comes to warring against the flesh. Both brothers and sisters, we both have something to work on. And we're supposed to have different marriages anyway. We're supposed to have different. We're supposed to be coupling together for the right reasons under the Most High Yah and Mashiach. We're supposed to be coupling together for the right reasons and playing our roles, playing our position. And yet we can be enticed away. And the reason why is because the Hasatan uses what works. Let's continue. Let's go ahead and start finishing this up. Okay, we're going to go over here to Ephesians 6. So we got a couple of places I want to just jump into and keep on going. Ephesians 6, 10 through 13. 10 says this: "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand." And having done all, to stand. This is what we have to do, brothers and sisters. Put on the whole lot. This is a spiritual battle. Matter of fact, I encourage those who may have had a spiritual battle, in the comment section, if you feel so inclined, you can share your short, make it as short as possible. But if you feel so inclined, you can share your, hey, I used to struggle with this and I got past it. Because that may encourage somebody else to say, you know what? wow, I'm struggling with this right now, and I see the Most High help someone get past it. Okay, so put that in the comment section down below to help out our brothers and sisters. Your testimony could help somebody, right? So to sharpen one another. If you feel like it, you don't have to, but if you feel like it, please do so to help out another brother or sister. Okay, because there's some sisters in there. Sisters, if you were married, okay, and everything was okay, and then all of a sudden you just kind of change your minds, irreconcilable differences, okay, that can be fixed. Or the finances, that can be fixed, okay. Even infidelity, or some of these things can be fixed. But if you have overcome it and your marriage is all the better for it, or you did that and you left the marriage, got divorced or whatever, and then now you are like regretting and be like, it was probably not the best thing to do in hindsight, in retrospect, and share that. Again, you don't have to. If you want to, share it down below. Maybe it'll help another sister. Maybe another sister thinking about leaving their marriage, and then when you leave and you feel uncovered, now you start feeling like, okay, is the Most High with me now? I feel so naked out here in the world. I don't think I should have left my husband. Okay, so just if you want, share that. 1 Timothy, let's see, chapter 6, 1 Timothy 6, and I'm going to read 11 through 14. 11 says this: But thou, O man of God, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness. Fight the good fight of faith, lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou also art also called, and has professed a good profession before many witnesses. I give thee charge in the sight of Yah, who quicketh all things, and before Christ Yeshua, who before Pontius Pilate witnessed a good confession or profession, right? He did that in front of all. Okay? That thou keep this commandment without spot, unrebukable, unto the appearing of our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach. All right? So I just want to finish with one more, and then I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment, right? So I'm going to go to Job. Okay, I'm going to go to Job 17 and 9. I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment, a passage of scriptures that's going to also help you out. 17 verse 9 says this: The righteous also shall hold on his way, and he that has clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. Meaning, brothers and sisters, it's going to get better for you. You will get stronger as you mature, as you overcome this lust, as you overcome whether your lust may be, you may have a problem with stealing or something. You can overcome it. As you overcome, as you fight it through the Spirit, as you overcome this idea of maybe stealing or something like that. Maybe overcome this flesh of eating unclean foods. Whatever the case may be. Lying, whatever it may be. Drunkenness. It can be overcome. You can win. You can get through it. It's a war against the flesh. And I just wanted to do this lesson just so you understand. I get it. I understand. We all have a struggle. We can list all these struggles. It is because it's common unto man. I know you can do it. I pray you can do it. Both brothers and sisters. It can be overcome. You can win the war against the flesh. I hope someone been edified. So until next time, search the scriptures. Improve all things. Shalom Israel. See you on the next one.